So we've got a bit of a change today. We're going to use something called escalated density training, a little tiny bit. And so we use kind of opposing muscle groups to do a little circuit. And we're going to do an upper body one first and then a lower body one. So it is going to get quite intense because we're going to focus in hard on certain muscle groups. Okay, and we're going to go at a certain, it's kind of like an EMOM, but we're only going to use 2 exercises for the upper body and 2 for the lower body and keep them separate and go from one to the other today. So we'll have a quick warm up and then we'll get going. Right, it is 2 minutes past, guys. We are going to make a start, okay? So, up on your feet, and we are going to start with, we're going to warm up the legs a little tiny bit, and then we're going to work our way down and do some upper body stuff when we're on the floor, okay? So, what I want you to do first off is just find a little wall or something to lean against, and we're just going to slowly swing that leg through to wake up the hamstrings. And as we're swinging through, slowly increase the range and the intensity of that swing. If you're in the living room, don't kick anything over. Good, and then slowly come to a stop, and then you're going to switch sides. Starting with a small swing and slowly building some speed and velocity and height and distance into that swing, both forwards and backwards. Good, and we're going to do exactly the same thing, but now we're going to face the wall and we're going to do a swing coming across the body, alright? So now if I face the wall here, I'm going to swing across and out. I'm trying to open up the hips in that sideways motion. And then I'm going to do exactly the same thing, bring that to a stop, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. Good, I'm increasing the range and the length of that as we go. And the speed and the velocity, and then slowly bring it down to a stop. Now that we've opened them out a little bit, we can do some lunges. Okay, so we're going to pendulum lunge, plant the left leg on the floor, step out into a forward lunge, and the right leg step up and back and touch, and then into a reverse lunge. Get 3 forward and 3 back. And then we change sides. Plant the right leg on the floor, step forward into a left lunge, and back into a reverse lunge on the right leg, and get 3 forward and 3 back. Good. And then we're going to go for a little lateral lunge into a curtsy. I'm already warm, it's crazy. Come out of my jacket. Okay, so we're going to step out into a lateral lunge, and then across and down into a curtsy 3 times. Good. And then we're going to change the lateral side, so we step out on the other leg and back and through. Crossing over a little tiny bit as we drop in. Perfect. All right. We're now going to head down into a press-up position. And in that press-up position, I want you to find downward facing dog, pushing the floor away, and come back through into a long plank position. And do 2 more. And then as we go into the downward facing dog on rep number 4, right hand touches left toe, and left hand touches right toe. 3 times on each. You can feel the shoulders starting to warm up here. It's important that we control the shoulders, control our pelvic position as we work through. Good. Down onto our hands and knees. Okay, in that 4-point position. Fingers on temples. Point that elbow underneath the body, right out in the other direction, and then up towards the ceiling. Get 5 big rotations. And then switch sides. So I'm pointing that elbow right through towards you there and around. Good, and then we're gonna go back up into that press up position. And we're just gonna get 4 press ups, regular press ups. I know we had enough press ups on Tuesday, but it's a nice way to warm up the shoulder girdle for what we've got coming today. And then we're up onto our feet. Good job. Okay guys, now we're up on our feet. We're going to talk through what we're going to do today. So how it's going to work is we're going to do 5 reps per exercise and rest for the remainder of the clock and then go again, okay? The weights that you've got need to be fairly moderate so that we don't get a lot of fatigue. I've realised I've not brought a small enough dumbbell out for me. I'll have to go and grab it in just a second. Once we've started, it won't take me a second. But what we're going to do to begin with is we're going to do an alternating, well, we're going to do a single arm row, 5 reps on one side, then 5 reps on the other, and then we're going to do a single arm press, 5 and 5, and then we're going to rest, okay? And we're going to work through, probably going every 90 seconds. We'll see how we're doing for time. It might end up being 2 minutes. Okay. Everyone good? Everyone understand what we're going to do? So the bent over row will be rocked over in position, and your single arm row 5 times on one side, and then switch over, making sure the back stays nice and flat, and row 5 on the other side. Elbow stays in close to the body, and then you pick the weight up, and from that position you'll get 5 presses, making sure that if it's a kettlebell it's resting on the outside of your arm. If it's a dumbbell, treat it as a normal shoulder press. We're pressing high to the ceiling. Good. And that's what a round is going to feel like. Okay, so if you're using a regular dumbbell, weight in hand, and we press on that one side, making sure the wrist, elbow and shoulder stays nicely stacked over the hips. Okay, and that we're not leaning back, we're not opening that rib cage. All right. So, everyone happy with that? Yeah? Good. Good. We're going to start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. So we straddle and we row. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then switch arms. You can rotate the body a little bit as long as you're not rounding through the lower back. Good, nice and tight with that shoulder press. Making sure it's under control, that we're not losing shape on the press. Good, and rest after 5 on each side. Nicely done. So we go again in 30 seconds. I realised I haven't got my water out with me today. I have to get someone to bring it out for me. Okay, 15 seconds away and we go again. And just like Tuesday, the volume of this will creep up on you over time, okay? Ready? In 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1, away we go. Back nice and flat and we row. And then you switch sides. Making sure that the back stays nice and flat all the time and we don't round. And then up and into your press. Remember, if you're struggling on the press, you can dip and use the legs a little tiny bit. Good. Stuff, keep that core nice and tight so that we finish in a good strong position overhead. Nicely done. Good job. That one was a little bit quicker. Good job. My water is on the way. That was nicely done. We've got 20 seconds to go before the next round. So remember guys, just make sure that you're controlling your body angle here so your back stays nice and flat. You can get a little bit of shoulder movement, but no rounding, okay? All right, here comes the next round. 3, 2, 1, away we go. So as long as I'm maintaining a flat back, a little bit of rotation through the shoulders is fine. Good, and then we go up for the press, making sure that the core stays tight. And remembering that I can dip and use my legs if I need to, a little bit on that press if I'm starting to fatigue. Making sure I'm not leaning back and opening. Good. Well played. 3 rounds down. And we should be getting through this at about a 1-to-1 work to rest ratio. Well played. We're through 3 rounds. One more round will probably get us halfway. Won't probably, it will get us halfway. We're going in 15 seconds. Ten seconds. So remember to control the movement. 3, 2, 1. Hinge over at the hips and row. Good, core nice and tight, and then switch hands and back up for the press. Good, and change sides. And we just take your time with the changeover. Using your legs on that press if you feel you need to. And then control the weight down to rest. Nicely done. We've got about 40 seconds of recovery now before we start round 4. It looks like we got a bit of a delay on Zoom, but that's okay. 20 seconds, guys. You're still getting the same rest even with the delay because you're following me. 10 seconds. 5, 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So we're over. This is all. It takes us over the halfway mark now. Remember, we're hinging at the hips, not folding through the lower back, chest stays up. Take your time with changing the weight over, ready for the press. And remember that you can use your legs on that press if you need to. Other hand can go wherever it wants to stay balanced. Good, strong press. Right to the ceiling, keep the core switched on. Keep that in tight so that we don't lean back on the press. And then you can control that weight back down to the deck. Awesome work, well done. I don't know about you guys, but my shoulders are starting to take a little bit of toll coming onto the shoulders now, which is fine, has to be expected. 20 seconds before we start the next round. 15 seconds. 10, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We start to row again. Good solid base, hinging over at the hips, and row. Hand comes into the rib, elbows up behind the body. Up towards the sky, change over. Remember, a little bit of body English is fine, but we don't want the lower back to be compromised. And then we're into the press. So we're making sure on the press that I get the kettlebell or the dumbbell set in the right position so that I'm strong into that press. And be careful as you change it over, not to drop it, not to put yourself in a difficult position. Using the legs if and when you need to. And we finish the set there, good. About 40 seconds before we go. It's like the 1.5-minute blocks. I feel like they're getting shorter and shorter. 30 seconds just under. Good. Remember to control your breathing and really focus in on, between your mind and the movement, exactly what we're trying to do and where we're trying to activate. 10 seconds. So that row, we're really trying to focus a good squeeze in between the shoulder blades. Really focus on that after this next set. Ready? 3, 2, 1, away we go. Really focusing on squeezing my elbow into the side of the body, getting it high so that I can draw my shoulder blade in towards the center of the body. Good. And then up for the press, making sure that I'm pressing and activating that by all the muscles through the shoulder, by driving the hand to the ceiling. Good. And we switch. Good. Tight through the core so our rib cage doesn't flare and open out. And then we rest. Good. 35 seconds before the next set. And this will be our last set for the upper body, for now anyway. Good, 10 seconds. This will be round number 8. Everyone ready? Last set, here we go. 3, 2, 1, away we go. Get into a good set position for that row. Back flat. Good. Excellent job. And then we prepare for the press. We bring it up and we push. Remember, if the shoulders are tiring now, you can catch it and get a little bit of leg drive. We still want it to be shoulder focused. Good. Tight core. Remember, from that side on position, we don't want to get that lean back to press overhead if we can help it. And then we finish the set and relax. Take a breather. Good job. Nicely done, guys. Well done. Good job. I don't know if Zoom is actually playing up at the moment or not, I can't tell. I'm just going to ask the guys. I can't even get him off mute, look. Is there a big delay?
It's just a bit inconsistent.
Okay. Cool, well I'm going to, I'll leave it on anyway, but you guys seem to be on Zoom as well, on thing as well, so I'll leave you there. Alright guys, a little bit of technical problems this morning. Okay, so now we're going to do a similar thing but with the lower body, okay? And the two movements that we're going to use, One is a lateral squat. So the lateral squat means my feet are going to be wide, and I'm going to hold the kettlebell or your dumbbell in a certain position, and I'll demonstrate both in a second. But what we're going to do is we're going to squat onto one leg and then across onto the other, back and forth for 5 reps in total on each side. So we're going to alternate up to 10, if you want to count single reps. Okay, we're then going to keep our feet in this position, and then we're going to do an RDL from a very wide position to target the hamstrings in a slightly different way. So we've gone from quite a quad dominant focus here to from a side on perspective. Okay, that RDL is going to, I'm going to get my hinge in here by pushing my hips back and keeping my chest up. I'm going to feel that load coming through the hamstrings. Because of the width of your feet, you might feel it through your adductors slightly as well, okay? That's absolutely fine. What we need to make sure though, is that we don't sit so far back that your toes come off the floor. Okay, you want your entire foot planted to the floor, and when you hinge over here, the hips will travel back slightly, but like I said, not so much that your weight distribution through your foot ends up behind your ankle, okay? Everything stays centered through the foot. If you're using a dumbbell, you're going to hold that dumbbell in a goblet position, okay? And your lunges your squats will be here, and then your RDL is going to be here. So there's a real challenge to keep that load up and out in front when you hinge, okay? That's going to stress your abs a little bit more, and it's obviously going to continue to load the upper body, all right? With the kettlebell, if you're doing that with the kettlebell, the challenge is to hold it in a bottom-up position. So you're going to hold it here, all right? If you can see that, you're going to try and hold it there, okay? And that's going to be the challenge for today, all right? Cool, so Zoom has gone completely, so I'm just going to cancel that down now so I can maintain my bandwidth here at home, because I've got everyone is on the internet at home. Alrighty, cool stuff. All right, guys, so we're going to hold the kettlebell here, okay? And there's going to be, as you can see, that's a static isometric bicep curl, and also when I tip over now into that, I've got to keep it up and lifted right in front of my face, okay? Cool. Fantastic. So we're going to do the same again. We're going to try and go every 90 seconds, and we're going to try and get through 8 rounds. Okay? So, everyone ready and in position? Remember, we're starting really wide. Okay, the toes are going to turn out a tiny little bit if you need them to, and we're going to squat into one side then the other. Okay, here it comes. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Away we go. So I've got my kettlebell up, and I sit across, and I'm like a rainbow. My hips come up and down. My feet stay flat to the floor. 8, 9, and 10, and there's only 5 of these RDLs, okay? So remember, from that side on position, my feet are still wide, and I hinge and up. Thinking about squeezing my glutes as I stand, and then down and rest. That's really risen my heart rate. But the good thing is that it only took me around about 35 seconds to get through a set. So I've got about a minute of recovery. But that's only set 1. So remember, from a side-on perspective in that squat, I want to keep this foot flat to the floor, so my shape here looks just like it does when I squat. And you can't really tell that I move my leg out to the side. All right, and the hip movement drops down, comes back up, and then goes over. Okay? Make sure everyone's set and in position, because we're going to go again in 10 seconds. In 3, 2, 1. Dumbbells up, and away we go. Up and over. Good. And then remembering from that side on position, I keep my chest up, squeeze in my glutes as I come through, feet stay flat to the floor, keep my core tight on my chest up, making sure that when I'm rocking over, I'm not rounding through my lower back. So if your hamstrings are tight, you're not going to go very far with that, okay? Everything's governed by maintaining good spinal integrity throughout the movement. Good news is you've got 40 seconds before we go again. Instagram is much better. Good. Just can't see you working now, that's a problem. No shortchanging me on the reps though, right? 20 seconds, guys. My upper body's already feeling it after those first 2 rounds. Whew. Good. Getting ready to rock and roll again. 5 seconds, so I'm getting set in position. Feet nice and wide. 3, 2, 1. Kettlebell or dumbbell up. Making sure that I'm only squatting low enough where I can maintain good positions and keep my feet flat to the floor. I'm going to go side on for the RDL so you can see the position that we're aiming for. Up and squeeze, feet stay flat to the floor, chest stays tall. Core stays tight throughout. It's really going to help because of the length of that lever with the weight up here. It's really going to help to engage through your trunk. Okay, good job, well done. No cheating, good Mark. You can post some of it to your Instagram story later as proof. Nicely done guys, well done. Three rounds done. We are about 15 seconds out from round 4. I'm going to do everything side on this time so you can catch what's going on. 5 seconds out. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. So I'm trying to make it look as much like a squat as possible. Controlling where the dumbbell wants to take me. And keep my feet in exactly the same position. And then I'm going to hit my RDLs, loading the hamstrings, squeezing the glutes as I stand. And then rest there. Good job. No cheating here yet. I love how you've added the yet there. Duncan's joined us for a little bit. This will get posted again tomorrow if you've missed it. Alright, so don't worry. I'm going to get back to it because the timer's still counting down. 30 seconds. Stand down, 30 seconds. Give it a few rounds. Nah, you won't cheat on me, Rach. 20 seconds. So I'm going to go about 45-degree on now so you can get a different view of what we're trying to achieve. 10 seconds out. We're halfway, guys, right? If that's any consolation. Ready? Good wide stance. 3, 2, 1. Weights up, let's go. You might start to find that you're starting to get a bit more range in those lateral squats now. Which means you've got more work to do. And then into your RDLs when you're ready. Good stuff. So remember with that hinge, we're not allowing the weight to sit too far back that our body weight's counterbalancing the load. We want to think about hinging, keeping our hips round about over our base of support so they're not too far behind. Okay, and negate the amount of muscular work we've got to do. Good job though. 3 rounds to go. My upper body is absolutely frazzled now. Trying trying to hold that weight out in front of me, finding it extremely difficult now. 3 rounds to go though. 20 seconds. It's okay though, I'm feeling it all in my biceps. It's exactly what we need in it for summer coming. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Away we go. Pick our weight up. Remember that we're not allowing your heels to come off the floor. And then your feet stay in that same position for the RDL. Keeping your chest up, don't let your lower back round. Keep that length in the spine. You want to really concentrate on feeling that load and stretch into your hamstrings. And then utilising a contraction, a squeeze of your bum to help you come back to an upright position and not sagging and dropping through at the standing position. Okay? Good work, guys. Well done. I think that leaves us with 2 rounds to go. .15 seconds out from round number 7, our penultimate round. Here we go, ready, 3, 2, 1. I find my good strong set position. I pick my weight up and I bring it into the goblet position, okay? Or the bottoms up position if you're a kettlebell in it. Making sure that you come all the way to the top, so both legs should be extended at that halfway point in between the reps. And remember, if your upper body's struggling, you can take a second in between doing your squats and your RDLs, and you can pick it back up and then hit your RDLs. Good job. And rest. That is if you're done. Fantastic work so far, guys. We are 30 seconds away from our final round. .15 seconds away now. Remember, as long as you get the work done in the time, that's absolutely fine. So if you need to break up the squats and the RDLs, or even break up the squats in the middle of the set, that's completely fine. Good, assume your position. Here we go for the final set. Ready? 3, 2, 1, let's do it. Nice and controlled. I'm using the leg to slow me down to the bottom of that. And then our RDLs to finish. Making sure I'm hinging at the hip, not through my lower back. Maintaining that length through the spine all the time. And keeping my core engaged so that I don't open and flare my rib cage. So well done, guys. Excellently done. So that draws us to a close today. But we were working on a 90-second clock there, okay? What escalated density means is that if you do this workout again over the course of 4 or 6 weeks, every time you would do it, you would be looking to get more reps into that time frame. And we were quite structured with every 90 seconds there. So next week you might decide to go every 85 seconds or every 80 seconds and just set a timer. What that means is then is you will get more work done.
And as you escalate that density, obviously it becomes harder because you're doing more work in the same amount of time. And it's a nice easy way to quantify what you're doing. You don't really want heavy loads. If you think of a weight that you could lift for 10 repetitions, you want to pick a weight like that, where it would be a 10 repetition max, where you couldn't do any more than 10 reps and only do it for 5, because there's limited amount of rest time. That fatigue will build up and make that weight feel challenging towards the end, which is exactly what we want. We don't want you struggling with that weight after 2 rounds. Okay, so that's kind of how that works. So you can bookmark this workout and come back to it one day next week and try and shorten the rounds. You don't want to shorten them massively, especially if you're going to do it maybe, you know, for the next 4 to 6 weeks. But it's a great option just to see some progress in your training, where you might only have one weight at home, or, you know, one kind of set load, and not the ability to make it heavier. If that makes sense. All right, awesome stuff, guys. Well done. Okay, let's open out the hips a little tiny bit. All right, so back into that wide standing position, guys. Okay, and what I want us to do is to go into that RDL position. So just hinge over at the hips, okay? And then all I want you to do from that position, with your back nice and flat, you might not get there, keeping the legs straight, just turn and rotate and reach towards the opposite foot. Doesn't matter whether or not you're going right hand to left foot, but we just want to go reaching into that corner. And you might feel that adductor on the same side or the hamstring on the other side get a bit of a stretch. Okay, 10 reaches in one direction, 10 reaches in the other. Good. Bend the knees, slowly come up to standing, and you'll find that the entire lower body is quite warm and supple, which is exactly what we wanted. Okay, great stuff. So you can do this standing. I'm going to come a little bit closer so you can see it. Okay, and we're just going to get a bit of an active stretch for the chest and the shoulders, guys. All right, if you were in our mobility session this morning, you would have done it. If you didn't join us for our movement snack this morning, where the hell were you? Okay, interlock your fingers, hands up on the back of your head. Okay, really important at that point that we don't collapse through our lower back. Okay, don't let that pelvis tip forward. Just keep your core engaged. Fingertips interlaced in the back of the head, and lightly press your head into your hands so you give yourself a bit of a double chin. From that position, flare your elbows out nice and wide. You might already get a bit of a stretch through your chest by doing that, pointing your elbows directly out and away from the body. And from that position, all I want you to do is just lift your hands without moving your head. Gently lift your hands away from your head, squeezing your shoulder blades together, opening out the chest, and we're going to hold for 10 seconds, keeping the core tight, keeping the chin tucked in, and relax. Bring the head back into the hands, relax your elbows, and we're going to do that again. Keep the core tight, pressing your head back into your hands, point the elbows out, and then lift hands away from the head, keeping the chin tucked in. Good, and relax. Hands down. You might have a big squeeze through your shoulder blades at that point. You might have gotten a bit of a stretch through the chest, okay? So what we're going to do to finish off there now is just address in between the shoulder blades, and we're going to do that by coming into our 4-point kneeling position, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. And we're going to think about the spine in segments, okay? So from this position, I want you to lift your tailbone. So stick your tail up in the air, tip your pelvis forward. Think about opening your rib cage and squeezing your shoulder blades together, and then lifting your head and looking forward, okay? And from this position, I want you to reverse that process. So you start by tucking the chin right into the chest. Then from having squeezed shoulder blades, I want you to push the floor away. And then slowly start to think about compressing your ribs and pushing your spine up towards the ceiling. And the very last thing I want you to do is to tuck your pelvis underneath, like you're trying to tuck your tail between your legs. A big push up there. Exhale every drop of air out of your lungs, and then slowly tip your tail
your pelvis forward, slowly open your rib cage, slowly squeeze your shoulder blades together, lift your head and look forward. Go through that process one more time. Tuck your chin into the chest, then push the floor away, then slowly think about pushing your spine to the ceiling. You're contracting your abdominals. Finally tuck your tail between your legs, and then reverse that process, release your pelvis, start to open through the rib cage, squeeze your shoulder blades together and finish head up looking forward. Beautiful.